Next concept is, first of all, you should know what is a class. How we declare a class in C++. Classes and objects. Now we'll do that inline function in class as well, how to do this in class. But before that, you should know what is a class. So for defining a class, we just write a keyword class and then write the name of the class. We need to specify a certain name of the class. Class is a keyword and line is class name, class line. And then in braces, there are various parts. Let me show you, tell you about its journal syntax first. What is a class? Let me tell you how to declare a class. First of all, we'll write class, then class name. Suppose I'm going to class student. Fine. Now in braces, I will define its attributes, declare its attributes, which are, let's suppose, char name 20, integer roll number, and then float marks. Fine. These are data members. But in class, there is a new concept also. We can also declare functions inside a class. So in public section, we'll declare functions void get data, void put data, and then close the class by putting semicolon. So there are two kinds of members in a class. First of all, a class can contain heterogeneous kind of data. Heterogeneous means it can contain a string, an integer, as well as float or double or any other data type, long, int, etc. It can contain any data type for its variables. This is called heterogeneous kind of data. Fine. Apart from that, it also contains functions that I have already told you, user-defined functions. So class consists of two kinds of data. When we create variables, this is called data members. And when we call create functions, we refer to them as member functions. Fine. So there are two kinds of data in a class: data members, which are basically variables, and member functions, which are basically member functions which operate on these variables. We have to perform all the operations in a class through these functions on these variables. You need to remember this. Fine. So these are called data members and these are called member functions. And there are various sections in a class. One is private section. I have not written over here private because by default the members of a class are private. So we can skip it. It is optional to write private. And other mode is public. One mode is private. Another is public. There is also a third mode called protected. Initially, we will study only two visibility modes, private and public. We will study protected later on. So these are called visibility modes of OOPS or C++. Fine. Private, it is clear from the name that any members which are declared in private section are hidden from the outside functions or outside world. That means main function. Name, roll number, and marks are hidden from the main function because we have declared them in private section. And whatever we write in public section, it is not hidden to the outside world, or we can say that we can access this data from the main function. Fine. So this is the main concept of OOPS. That means we can hide data in OOPS, whereas it was not possible in C language you have studied so far. Fine. So this is how we can create a class. It is basically an extension of structure that you have studied in C. Now, how to create object of a class? Let me show you how to create object of a class. The variable of a class is basically called object. The instance of a class is called an object. There are two ways. One way is we write main function, void main, and then we write this class name student and declare an object of its type. Let's suppose we have created stud1. So this is an object of class student. Fine. This is an object of class student. So how we can access the members of this class? The private members cannot be accessed, but public members can be accessed. They can be accessed by using stud1 dot get data. By writing the dot operator, we can access the public members. Similarly, if I write stud1 dot put data, I can access it. Fine. So we can access members of a class by using the dot operator. Okay. Basically, class is a user defined data type. It is a user defined data type, because just like int, float, char, these are built-in data types. This is called user defined. We have created this data type according to our need. That is why it is called user defined data type. So student can have these attributes, like a student can have his name, roll number and marks. Fine. Apart from that, you can add any number of variables like his mobile number, his address, his father's name, mother's name, address, etc., etc. But I have chosen the basic ones, name, roll number and marks, to make you understand. These are the components or attributes of a student. So student is a user defined data type. Just like we declare int roll number, we create student stud1. Here student is a class and stud1 is an object of this class. The instance of a class is called an object. Fine. Private members cannot be accessed in the main function, whereas public members can be accessed by using the dot operator. I hope you understand the concept up to this point.